Hi, my name's James Vigiano. I'm a New York City police officer assigned to the 75th Precinct, East New York, Brooklyn. Favorite part about being a police officer would probably be like the camaraderie. Just I've yet to go to work. It's not work going to the city. I get to hang out with some of my best friends, and every day is a new day, and it's nothing but fun. Honestly, I've wanted to be a police officer since I could talk. I've had two dreams. I want to be a Marine and I want to be a police officer, and I've done both, and I haven't changed what I wanted to do in my life since, and I'm happy where I'm at. My heroes growing up would definitely be my family. One grandfather was in the Navy. My other grandfather was a Marine. My mother, Navy and a police officer. My father, ESU. Uncle, a firefighter. And just cops, firemen, military. On September 11th, I was 6 years old. I don't really remember too much about 9/11. I just remember being in class. My teacher left the room, so we all looked outside and we saw all the teachers in the hallway talking, and they started crying, and we didn't really know what was going on, so we kind of just, being kids, we started messing around in the classroom, throwing erasers and whatnot. But that day, it was weird because everybody started getting picked up early and going home, and you see their parents coming, and we kind of the class got smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you're looking around, you're like, oh, well, now we're all going to the cafeteria. Oh, there's my brother. Oh, there's so-and-so, his dad's a fireman. There's so-and-so, his dad's a cop. Oh, yeah, that makes sense because we heard something was going on in the city. So it was strange. From a 6-year-old perspective, it was weird. I remember having the conversation with my mother. Pretty much every station on TV was showing the towers collapsing, except for I think it was Nickelodeon. But when we got home, we saw it on the TV, and my mother told us, Dad's at work, he's not coming home tonight. And I mean, to us at first, that was oh, that's normal because my dad worked doubles all the time, and it wasn't strange that he wasn't coming home at that moment. And it took a minute to set into what that actually meant. Probably the most hopeful I could have possibly been, but as days went on, we kind of got a feeling, but again, as a 6-year-old, you really don't know. And then when we were finally told, that was, for lack of better words, a difficult day. My father was always the life of the party. He was big guy, always messing around, always having a good time. Shortly before 9/11, we moved into a new house and we got a new pool. And I remember one of my dad's friends telling him, telling me to say, Dad, there's a rip in the liner. So, Dad, there's a rip in the liner. And then my dad comes over to look, and his buddy kicks him in the pool with his wallet, his car keys, his cell phone. Back then, if you had a cell phone, you made it. He was not too happy, but he laughed it off, and if I had to guess, he got his friend back pretty good for that one. The job really took care of us. It took care of my mother. They were able to, make sure we had a parent at home to provide for me and my two brothers. Every year on September 11th, my parents' friends, from the 7-5 and ESU and everything, they would come over to the house, and it would, more of a celebration of his life. They would hang out, they would tell us stories about all the dumb things my dad used to do, and what he was like, and just try to keep his memory alive for us. This year it's a little tough because my little brother's in boot camp, so we're not going to see him until a couple days after, but most years we spend it together. I still get guys that are on the job currently, retired guys, kids of guys who worked with my parents, who I now work with. They just come up and they're like, your dad was one of the best cops we ever worked with. He's the definition of a cop's cop. He was always there to take care of, his fellow cops. And if he was working and you called for help, you knew he was going to get there, and you knew he'd be the first one there, and he'd crash the car to do it. So, he was always there for his peers. Honestly, my brother, he carries the majority of the weight for that. He's the namesake, Joe Vigiano. For me, it's more of just be a good dude, and if your friends need help them out. And I try to be the first one there when someone calls for us. There's a lot of avenues I've looked at. At this point, ESU is one avenue I've looked at. Warrants is another. JTTF. There's just, honestly, it's the biggest department in the world. There's so many different ways we can go. I could be a beekeeper and be a cop. that's like the coolest gig ever. Well, at that point, I had just gotten out of the Marine Corps, so she kind of knew it was coming. It was more like, hey, I got my medical next week. I was like, okay. Do you need anything? Need me to call anybody? Make sure you got somewhere to park. You could visit your cousin over at Truck One. Like, you good? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. And just at that point, Joe had already become a police officer, so she wasn't surprised. Well, I mean, for myself and for the city, it's more than just a historical event. Like, the way it was explained to me by another person who lost family on 9/11 was kids nowadays view 9/11 basically as Pearl Harbor, like how we viewed it in school. It was a historical event that happened years ago. They have no connection to it, so they don't really understand it. And my family being military, Navy, Marines, and everything, they put a heavy emphasis on understanding what this country went through, and learning about history. And then now, this becoming no longer just like something everybody lived through. It's now, your parents lived through it, not you. It's it's our job to just make sure like those the guys don't get forgotten. The event doesn't become like just another day for a barbecue, and just we look after each other, I guess.